it?
Yeah, I'm just excited.
Let's do this.
She wants some paint on her
Yeah.
brush. Let's go.
All right, hi everybody. We want to welcome you to the Ignite Hope date night.
Yeah.
Is that what we're calling
Drive through
it?
date night.
Drive through date night. Stuck in the house COVID date night. Whatever we're calling it.
However you want to frame it.
My name is Melissa, and I have been graciously asked to just host a paint party. And I would have loved for everyone to be here in my what we call the parlor, which is a art studio / hangout spot, but can't do it. So this is what you get. So let me go ahead and introduce everybody while we're sitting here before we get really into this and get it all messy. I'm Melissa. This is my parlor. This is my husband Scott, who's here because he loves me. This is Jacqui, and this is Jeff, and they are the founders of Ignite Hope Ministries organization. And we will learn a lot about that tonight because we are new acquaintances, and I'm really excited to hear a lot of what they do for the community because I've just been involved with this and been lucky enough to be asked and honored to pitch in and help you guys have a good time.
And we're grateful for that, I have to say.
Awesome. So fun.
It's going to be exciting to see where this goes. So whenever you're watching this, whoever you're watching it with, hopefully it's your significant other. Guys, you're not allowed to bail.
Yeah. Or at least somebody you like.
Yeah, you have to like somebody to do this. So what we've done, you have received your bag of goodies with all your supplies in that. You are not limited to the supplies that you got, which is your paints and a brush and a canvas, and I will have typed up as well some instruction sheets, which
Nice.
I don't have yet. Yes, surprise, I'm getting that.
Yay, that's awesome.
So it'll be with some helpful hints because I'm not assuming people paint all the time or have ever painted. So I'm really making this for anybody who wants to do it. So you can get as basic as you want or as fancy as you want. It's all up to you. We are just giving you a baseline of where to start. With the colors that I have chosen, you can mix them, and which will be on your sheet of paper and which we'll talk about and go through here in a little bit about making different colors. You will also have a reference photo. I bootlegged this one, so I might have to get one that I didn't bootleg off Pinterest, but this is the picture that you're gonna get because I believe in giving the artist complete just credit for that. So if I use this, I will find out who the artist was. But we're gonna do a sunset. So that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna hopefully look resembling this when you get done. Again, creative license, you do you. But the sun is yellow, water is blue.
Start the basics.
Yes, basics. So how this is going to work, which is what I was getting to you, it's all going to be on your sheet, but just for basic explanation purposes, you need water, you need a paintbrush that you will get. It's not going to look like this. You will get a different paintbrush. You need a palette of some kind, which you can use wax paper, not a regular paper plate. You can use like a wax coated paper plate, something that's not porous and is going to soak up your paint. So these handy dandy things, everybody's probably got them around your house. It is a lid from an IKEA bin. These are fabulous. I love these. Anything plastic, metal.
Could you use like a
Cookie sheet, glass plate, anything that your paint is not going to soak into. I would try to get it as flat as possible so your paint doesn't run and you end up with a pool of mud that you're trying to work from.
Although it kind of looks like the sand is muddy.
Yeah, actually it was cool because I didn't have to mix.
Yeah.
So but yes, if you mix all your colors together, it will all look, your whole painting will be beige. So
like an army vehicle.
It will. It will be army green. So that roughly is what it's going to look like. We're going to make two. So guy grab a canvas and girl grab a canvas. That's how we're going to start.
Got
Yep.
mine.
So everybody's got their canvas. Now we're gonna get together. So you need to come to me so we stay in shot. All right. So we want to, when we do this picture, the way it's gonna work is you each have you have a whole canvas, half of a picture. It's like odd to say. You've got half a picture. So I want you guys to come together and just pick one person. Yeah, you're only gonna be sitting here for a second, so it's not not a big deal.
Oh, I get it. We make our. Oh, okay.
We're gonna draw. Don't worry about messing your thing up. Okay, so don't do this with a Sharpie. Just use a basic pencil, which I'm sure you have lying around.
Go lightly.
And do it kind of lightly. And what we're gonna do, okay, back up a little bit and tell you why we're gonna do what we're gonna do. So when you have a painting with the light and dark colors, you are going to start with a lighter color first, because it is 1,000 times easier to make the picture darker than it is lighter. So if we put too much blue or purple up here, you're gonna have to scrape it off and start over to get the light. So you always want to start with your lighter color first. So we will be able to see the pencil mark through the lighter colors until we get ready to, you know, put the shadow of the mountains. You can draw mountains, you can put a sailboat in there, you can put palm trees in there. If you're super talented, you can like draw people sitting on the beach drinking a Corona or what? No, I'm just kidding. You do you. Beach umbrella, you know, whatever. Silhouette of a dog. Just remember, it's all going to be a silhouette, so you don't have to worry about drawing faces, because who can do that, right?
Plus, you want it to line up when you put it back together.
Yep, and that's why we're putting them together, because you want it to line up. So we're doing, in art, there is what we call rule of thirds, and if you can look at this, it's roughly thirds.
Oh.
And so you have water, your sand, your water, and your sky. On this particular, you can choose what you want to focus on. If you want more sky, you can draw your sky part bigger. If you want more sand, you can draw the sand bigger. I just kind of thirded mine when I did the example, just so that we could see it. This time I'm going to do a little less sand and a little more sky. What?
You're drawing on her.
It'll cover it up. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? All right. So we're gonna. Don't draw straight lines. Nothing is straight. The earth is curved. Be creative. So go ahead and draw that.
So do I draw my side and then tandem with the
Now, if you want to.
Okay.
So what are we doing? We're just basically looking at the photo and we're just kind of drawing lines to match what we want, like draw our beach and then draw our water line.
You decide how much beach you want.
Beach to there.
And then you decide how much
Sand.
water you want.
Right.
Where's our what? You want to do water? You do water.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep. And don't worry about the mountains, because that'll be just
Unless you're flying too low.
right. Unless you're, because those will be last, and we don't need to worry about
the
those.
darkest?
I'm sorry.
Is that because they're the darkest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they can just be whatever you want them to be.
All right, so I drew my first line here that identifies the sand, and then I drew my second line here that kind of gives the water area. Do I need to draw any other lines?
We're gonna draw the sun.
Okay.
So yep. Just if you are not comfortable making a semicircle, you can trace a plate or something.
Okay.
But you just want half. Yeah, I think those have stuff.
They're all.
They all have icing.
Whoa!
Cut.
Is that big enough? I don't think that's big enough. I feel like we need a bigger sun.
A mighty sun.
Is the plate big enough?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it'll work.
that'll
Yeah,
work.
the plate's probably good.
Yeah. Or you can use this one.
Yeah, I think that's about right size.
Yeah. So they're a cocktail plate.
Do a little higher.
Yeah. Saucer. Because think of your mountains are going to go across there too.
Yeah,
see how they're,
true.
see the mountains, they kind of dip down a little bit, so it's not that big a deal.
But if you make it higher up, they don't have to dip down so far.
That's correct.
Teacher's pet.
It's all right. I am no respecter of persons.
Do,
All right.
Okay.
do you want to draw the hearts so that because they cross the divide there?
Oh, yeah.
Nah,
So
we're
they'll
gonna
line
wing
up?
those.
We're gonna wing them.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we can come together at the end and draw them.
You
Okay.
should always be reckless with hearts.
Yeah.
That's right. You just wing your heart.
Okay.
Oh, so we
So
return.
now we
Yeah. So now
can,
you
can return to paint position.
go back to your corners.
Return to paint start.
Now here comes the part where you can grab your paints over there. Oh, the table. Your water.
You might want to put your palette between you. That way you can
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
get to it.
Because the thing that is going to make this not a disaster.
Oh, Lord. Here
Because
we
we've
go.
evened up everything, but yes, you will do your own flavor and that kind of thing, but the colors still need to go together. So
So no Red Sea is what you're talking.
correct.
Okay.
I mean, well, you can
But you
have
just
a red
both have
seed,
to do it.
but right, yes. So this is
So
where
once we mix a color and choose a color, we need to both pick from that color
correct.
to color our area.
Correct. So that's where it can get a little tricky. Mixing the colors. Again, I'll have a sheet printed up with some instructions and some guidelines and things like that. But red and yellow make orange. Red and blue make purple. Add white to anything to get a brighter color. Black. Careful with the black. It can tone down some things, but you can also get mud real quick. So just play around with your color mixing, and like,
Put dark colors in the back so we don't.
yeah,
So cute.
yeah, very
I feel like you'll see personalities come out as you start. as you start
right.
painting.
And that's the beauty of it, because I mean, like, we are polar opposites. Like, we do everything completely different, and most of the time we come out with the same result. We
Yeah.
just take entirely different routes to get there.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's just life. You know, we all need each other. No man's an island kind of thing. Going back to the starting with the darker colors, I also, when I did this, I did both of these because I love myself. So I just started with the sand just because it's kind of just get it out of the way. Did you bring your hair dryer? Okay, no
forgot.
worries, no
I
worries.
forgot.
That will be on the
I
list
brought
too.
cupcakes.
Cupcakes.
She's got a heat gun over there.
Cupcakes
Not bringing
Are
her. I'm
higher
so
priority.
sorry.
You know what?
Oh,
Or we can just
Lord.
crank the car and hold it behind the exhaust.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
there
do
you
that. So on the list too, a hair dryer or a heat gun, if you have one, will be really good to help dry the paint a little faster. I mean, we're not in a hurry, and we want to take our time, because hopefully you've gotten a babysitter for your kids, or you've escaped somewhere and you're just two of y'all and you're hanging out, and you're going to make this last a couple hours, and I think that's fantastic. However, again, mixing colors, you might have an entire picture of sand because it's all going to be mud. If things aren't quite dry and you go to add another color, which that's not entirely a disaster, because if you keep a wet paper towel or baby wipes, if you got little ones, you've got baby wipes. So I've got baby wipes over there that we're going to use. Can you grab the shop napkins?
I love baby wipes. I keep them everywhere. I use them for everything.
They're genius.
Yeah,
I
they
love
really
baby
are.
wipes.
I
Clean
used
out
to
my car.
keep baby wipes before I had babies.
Yeah.
I had
We
them
don't
with
know
me.
about it, just one apiece.
Oh.
Yeah, 1 or 2 apiece. They're connected.
Okay.
So have napkins, your water, baby wipes if you have them, because if you can wipe up a mistake.
Thank you, sir.
If it's not dry, you can, because
Thank you,
you
sir.
can't see it on mine, but I did it a couple times because it wasn't lining up right, and so I just kind of wiped it off and kind of went at it again. So there's nothing that you can't fix, trust me. We're going to start with the lightest color, again, because it's easier to darken than it is to lighten. So that being said, we are going to start with probably the sky and work our way down.
Okay.
I started with the sand, but looking at it, I think I'm going to start with the sky.
Okay.
So, and as you can see, the blue is the darkest color that we have, and we're going to add a little bit to make purple. We're just kind of red. You can mix it on your palette, or you can mix it on the canvas. It's totally fine either way. If you're not sure of a color, mix it on the palette, because then if you don't like the color, you don't have to use it, and it's not on your paint, not on your canvas already. So does that make sense?
And your instructions, will it be that little RGB chart where it has a color?
I
next to
can give
another?
a color wheel.
A color wheel, that's what
Yep.
it's called.
I can give a color
I had
wheel.
no idea. I color wheel. I knew RGB. I was like,
Yeah,
Red, green, blue.
oh,
yeah,
Roy G-Biff.
Yeah,
Roy
Roy
G.
G.
Biff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
We love Roy, he's G-Biff.
yeah. So there is, yeah,
So we squirt some blue on here, is that what we do?
put it on your, start with it on your palette, because you can use it plain,
Mm-hmm.
and you could also mix it in with your red to make purple.
Probably a good idea to shake them up so they don't
Yeah.
have water sitting on top.
Yep. It will be oil.
Oh, it's oil based?
It's not oil, but it's not water. It's something else. Some other chemical. Don't eat your paint.
May not be non-toxic.
Right.
About how much should we put out here?
It's going to take a lot because you have your water as well.
Okay.
So do
So-
we dip water first and then put it in?
You can. It
That's-
doesn't really matter.
Well, she meant like the water, this water.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No, some
Never mind.
people wet their brushes first, and that's fine. You can.
Okay.
It helps the paint move in your brush. Also, before we do that, one thing I want to say: paint brush etiquette. You do not paint with this part of the brush. You paint with the end of the brush. So we're not scrubbing. We're not going to scrub our brushes. There are things that we do. If you want to come and take workshops with me, we will scrub brushes.
And
But
we encourage you to do
because
that.
it's fun. We have a lot of fun. You paint with the tip half of your brush, if that makes sense, half out. You don't.
Don't go low.
Yeah, you don't want to bend your brush way down. You always stroke like that. You don't. For this particular project, you want to keep it. You paint with the end of your brush is basically what I'm trying to say. So no matter what size, style, anything, you paint with the end of the brush, and you're just pushing and dragging the paint around.
And so we start with the blue up here.
Yes.
Okay.
You ready?
Go for it, yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I've been waiting for this.
And in the sky, you will see that there's blue and there is yellow. Blue and yellow make green. We do not want a green sky. So that is where the heat gun or hair dryer
Okay.
might come in. These paints actually dry pretty quickly.
Oh, that's
I found that out doing this.
They smell good. We're gonna look like Smurfs.
Don't eat them.
Yeah, don't lick the brush. So just be careful with when you get to adding yellow, because you don't want green. Again, you don't want green to your sky. In your water, that's fine, because when you look at the ocean, it's not always pure blue.
Yeah.
Like around here.
Yeah, right. Don't forget the top and the sides. You want a finished canvas.
For some reason, that's the most satisfying for me.
Doing the edges?
Yes,
The
I know.
edges, really?
Yeah, well, because I know I can do them right. Like you
Yeah. Can't screw up a straight line.
So what's the finished surface? The top, obviously, but
All the
I
way
guess
to
it'd be the
side.
outside. Because this side would, I guess you'd need to
No,
at
you
least
do
fold
it all the
over
way
and-
because
yeah.
I mean the chances of you hanging it where it's like super butt up against each other.
So really, it's not meant to hang directly next to each other. You have a
You
little space there.
can.
And
They
have
can
some-
touch, but it's
Have like a picture of you kissing in between the
Yeah.
photos and
yeah.
something romantic to make the kids sick.
Aw,
Beach
there you
picture
go.
when you know.
Something that made the
Cruise
teenager go
picture.
"Ugh," every
Yeah,
time
it's
they
like,
looked at it.
Gross, get a room. People are weird.
Gosh, Mom.
How is yours so blue and ours is a
Different.
Color blue.
okay?
Yeah, I didn't have a dark blue. I don't have. Actually, I don't know that I have. Continue without me.
I'm just painting.
Oh, I
the
didn't shake it. Hold
sky.
on.
A pretty sky. Look at my sky.
Happy sky.
That too.
What color do you have?
We have
Blue.
Is that all it says?
Brilliant blue. Seeing the white.
royal blue
I
Okay.
have royal blue.
something.
As you old real. Yeah.
That's the one.
I got like 8 bottles of that.
I don't have any glasses on new. That's why I put this down here, but you can mix up there. That's what this one is for.
Can I see your blue?
Sure.
You can always brighten yours up.
Here you go.
with
Here,
ours.
you guys can use this.
Check out my purple.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty. So here's some navy blue. You make your up better if you want. You don't have to.
So it looks like what you did was you had blue, but then you had the purple kind of on top of it.
Yeah, I just mushed red in it. Because when you look at the sky, nothing is extremely delineated. I mean, it
Yeah.
blends and it fades and from like minute to minute,
Or
really.
the royal blue.
I was just making sure that my sky dropped down to come somewhat
What?
meet your
The
sky.
royal blue.
Oh, that?
This.
Alright, so did you wash your brush off completely before? It doesn't look like you did.
No, because you want to be able to blend it when you're using those colors, like coming down. And honestly, my trick, which I'll share with you guys, I did the blue and then dried it and then went back with the orange
Ooh, nice.
and not the orange, the red. And so then it turned a little purple. I didn't dry it completely,
Yeah.
but I just did a bunch of blue and then just started adding like this, just adding right on my canvas to get the purple. And then I dried it when I wanted to add the orange and yellow, because if not, everything just gets dark mud.
Yeah.
So tell me about Ignite Hope.
So, funny thing, we've been working on our messaging just so we can kind of explain ourselves better to people who are not in the space of orphan care every single day.
Okay.
So we are essentially a support ministry, just working to resource and encourage foster
Why are
and
you
adoptive
painting her
families.
picture?
Because she needed to drop it down a little bit. She was talking.
Sure.
Bye.
He's trying to match it up. So anyways, I mean, Ignite Hope essentially has come out of our felt need as adoptive parents. Ignite Hope is the spiritual void. It fills the spiritual void we experienced when we were going through our adoption process for our
Okay,
son.
so you looked back at your process and saw what was lacking and what you wish you knew, like when
What
we
we
say,
needed.
if I could tell my 10-year-old self anything.
Yes.
So you've said, okay, if I could tell my beginning adoptive self what or not adopt. Because do you work with adoption too, or just
adoption and foster care?
Okay,
yeah.
so
well, adoption, foster care, and global care. So that's why we say orphan care, because it kind of covers at-risk kids wherever they might be.
okay. And you just look back and said, okay, this is what I wish I knew back then.
Yeah.
Before we're getting into paint.
That's amazing.
So it was.
Yeah, don't paint your son.
Not our sons at home or this one. But yeah, it was not something I don't think that we would have scripted, but I think it's something that God's been scripting for a long time.
Okay.
So we suddenly found ourselves just jumping off a cliff with 4 kids, pretty much.
So are all 4 of your kids adopted?
No, we say we have 2 heart babies and 2 belly babies.
Okay.
Oh,
So
that's
our
awesome.
oldest 2 are through adoption. Our oldest son was fostered for us before we brought him home, and youngest 2 are belly babies. So we, we've kind of gone through a lot of different processes to get all our kids home.
Right. How fun. Now, are your kids involved? How is this like a family venture?
Oh yeah, I mean they pretty much whatever we have gone out to do. Oh, it's so hard to keep
Walk and talk.
going. Okay, I'm going. I'm on it. I'm on to this.
Just the water, because I had blue on my brush.
Yeah, start
Oh,
painting the
that's
water.
Yeah, just because I had blue on my brush. So anything, so I don't have to wash up my brush a lot.
So like doing 2 things at once. Like, can I walk and chew gum? I really don't know. Plus the fact that honestly with the whole virus situation, I haven't been out in the world and talking to people. So I feel like I'm just awkward and seriously overexcited. So forgive me for that.
No,
It's
you're
just
fine.
where I am. But we, okay, ask me the question again. Because I'm like, I'm painting
I think I
and
asked,
mommy brain's kicking hard.
That one was, do your kids, how involved are your
How
children?
involved?
Like a family thing.
Oh yeah, well, because we homeschooled half our kids half the time for the last 5 years that we've been doing this. So at any point in any day, we've got somebody home with us. So they go where we go. They've come to meetings. They help with events. They have met families, which is actually kind of cool because when you have a family who's thinking about fostering or adopting and hasn't ever gone there before,
Right.
they meet our family and they're like,
To
oh
get the
look,
kids'
it's like
perspective.
yeah, and they're like, oh look, they're just normal kids.
Yeah, and they see our adopted kids and they think, oh look, they're not aliens. They're just
Right.
children.
Right.
Or the fact that honestly, and then this is the truth, I can't always remember which of our kids is adopted and which one's not.
That's good.
And it's because they're just my kids. So
Right.
It's really annoyed some pediatricians when you have to fill out that new patient paperwork and you're trying to say medical history and all this. I'm like, oh no, this one's adopted. Just I need a new one. So
Right.
they finally just give up and give me the laptop and let me delete instead of asking for more copies.
Okay. So pause the painting because I see Scott doing it. Not that you're wrong. There is no wrong. Just different. You might want to put in details and like he's doing a lot of the shiny on the water and stuff.
Like the sun part on the water?
Yeah, save that for last. Save
Okay.
the details for last.
So we can go over the
On
dry
it.
paint.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can't, you can do it, you can mix that in and it makes spots, but it ends up blending and you lose the crispness of a white cap wave. If you want white on your wave, wait until the blue paint is dry and we can hit it with white at the end.
Got it.
Oh, right, shake it.
What do you got there?
I'm gonna make it more greedy blue, like turquoise.
Okay, but I have my blue here. It's blue all the way up. If you change the color of the water,
Then you'll have to change it
Then
too.
when they meet in the middle, they're gonna look like a different ocean.
Shadows, currents. Just doing all that.
Gotta slow it down.
Slow it down.
You.
I don't understand how that's slowing it down.
be bold.
I know not what you do.
I don't really know what I do either.
Mhm.
We'll see how this works. I just know that yellow and blue make green.
You're just over trying to make mud.
Did y'all
She's-
ever hear that, like it was forever ago, it was like, this is the thing about colors. Like, this is the thing about colors.
I'm sure I have, but I would never
It's
remember
like
it.
from the
Not remember that.
80s. I remember it from, honestly, like Vacation Bible School or something like that. But it would tell you how to mix the colors.
Oh, fun.
Oh,
And so that's honestly the only reason that I would know those.
that's how I learned the books of the Bible.
Oh, did you really?
No paint vacation.
Through song, yeah.
That's awesome. Need a little more gold.
When you mixed it all in, what happened? You mixed
Yeah.
it with the blue, and it all the dark color overrode the yellow.
Yeah. So
You
when
could
you
have
go,
just picked just yellow to go on top of it.
yeah, when you mix the colors, take your lightest color and add just a smidge of the dark color. Remember, because it's always easier to make the color darker. You can't make it lighter very easily. There's always a way, but you're going to end up with like 2 gallons of paint
On top
until
of
you
it.
get the right color back out that you wanted. Well,
Our halves just have completely different technique, don't they?
they do. I'll put white in mine.
I was just
But there's
thinking,
no mistakes.
yours looks cohesive because it was
Because I
you.
made it the whole
That's what I keep thinking.
So
I'm like,
just
this
so
is
you
not
know,
gonna come
it's going to
together.
be 2 different
Right.
personalities, and that's good.
We
That's
set a bad example to begin with.
Oh.
Just so you know, it will not look like this.
It could.
It'll be 2 personalities coming together as one.
Not how we see the beach. Some people will paint sharks and death and.
Can I start the sun?
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna send out a brush.
So don't get any more blue mixed in with that. Just use the yellow.
I'd like ours to be just a tiny bit orange.
That's fine.
About that much.
Yeah.
If you have
check it out.
blue water, oh, that's fun. It almost looks like watercolor because
Yeah.
you had a lot of water in your brush.
Well, no, I'm touching it with this.
I know,
Isn't that
but
cool?
it also looks because you have
Yeah.
water, and that's why your paint went on differently.
I love
I'm gonna rinse these out.
I
If
think it needs
your
to be
water
wet.
now looks like this, rinse it out because when you go to paint
that.
yellow
Wow, how do you
sun,
have like no color?
you're gonna end up with how do you have?
It's just like amazing
I know,
clear.
yeah.
Like
Because
you
I'm
can
not
drink
I'm
it.
not pushing the brush
guess
down.
you
I'm
have it.
dipping and I'm wiping.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you have blue water, your sun will turn out green. Just so you know.
So what is it I need to do here?
Make yours wet
And then what?
and then put it on top of this, and then just dab it. Yeah. Ah, look at me, creative.
Yeah, we're gonna need the dryer because we got so much water on our
Yeah, there's
on here. Ow! There's a table leg. You got water running across those. Yeah, too much water.
Are you on my side again?
I'm trying to help you out here. We got a lot of water on
you got a lot of water. It's a fun effect. See, that's just something else to do.
Happy accident.
Yeah, man. So is that what color our sun's gonna be?
Nope.
I'm prepared about this paint piece here.
They're sticking to their own row. What is it? Hoe your row. Hoe your own row?
Yeah.
Right. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stay in your lane.
So Jeff is, I guess the breadth of services, if you will, that you guys kind of provide to the community, is it mostly emotional, physical support, or is there material support as well, or?
I'm gonna wait till I finish doing this thing.
That's cool.
You know, the audio is gonna be like hard to hear. These things are not conducive to talking over. I want microphones to pick up the noises you don't want to hear so much better than your actual voice.
Did you add something to your yellow?
He added a drop of red.
Okay, drop of red.
So that it's not like banana in the sky.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble
I feel like we should know that.
covering the line.
It's okay, we're gonna put mountains. Good point.
Covering the
So-
circle line.
It's fine.
Your pencil's
Up top, it's fine. It'll be alright. When you hit your horizon line, again, be careful. Hit it with a hairdryer to dry your blue, and make sure if you do your water or even your sky, if it comes down and touches, make sure anything that your yellow might touch, make sure it's dry, or it's going to turn green or muddy.
Yeah, maybe get the hairdryer back out.
Yeah.
So this, is that a hairdryer or is that a?
It's a heat gun.
Oh, okay.
I have one of these in the basement. It just looks like a
Do you
pistol.
have one?
Yeah, they're just a little hotter
Okay.
than a hairdryer.
Mine's a lot hotter. It'll
Yeah.
burn the hair off your arm.
Yeah, that's just a cheapie, like $10 at Hobby Lobby. And they
Get a super
have
hot one at
a plethora of uses. You can do a lot with them.
you can get a super hot one at Harbor Freight for $19.
Yeah, it's probably dangerous. I had a friend, she came in and she was doing a mixed media piece like what you did.
Yeah.
And she went to heat it and she actually caught her paper on fire.
Oh my word.
But she just like, she stood there and she wasn't moving it and she was just chatting and chatting and chatting and I'm like, dude, you gotta move that. And she had like this brown burn mark right in the middle of her canvas. But didn't matter because we painted over it.
There
so
you go.
you can always change anything.
I burn my stuff all the time just to give it a different look.
Yeah.
Usually with a wood, you take a torch. So
You
Yeah.
burn yourself all the time?
my project's the wood project.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does do that.
Love. Yeah.
I thought, well, because he does hurt himself occasionally too. So.
Tool time too.
Like, what's
I've
happening
injured myself
here?
once or twice.
Oh, I love this.
One drop. Ooh.
Why you make it? Or just.
Well, I'm just making more because we need to do the.
Oh, that's how you're making your orange.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure to get some red in
But
there.
I'm not
so it's-
gonna. It's completely.
How'd you get red in there?
I used
Put it.
some-
Well, so you gotta
Oh,
mix.
you're not using the paint she used?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
but
Wasn't enough.
yeah,
You want to use my brush?
it just wasn't enough mixture. You just gotta get a good amount.
So
in there.
okay.
Where's the red?
Just a drop.
Your sky looks the same as your sun.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back over it and redden it down some.
Let me mix this one and use the first batch just so
Okay.
my color's consistent with yours.
So, do we use the same color here or no?
You can, but you can just change it.
Okay.
That's the thing. You just like
Add something
I'm
to
doing like with this, I'll probably put some more blue in it and continue the purple. It just depends on how light or dark you want your sunset.
Yeah.
Our sun is pretty high in the sky still, so there's going to be a lot of lighter colors, a lot more yellow,
Gotcha.
red, pinks, that kinds of things. Maybe some plain yellow up in her.
So, how do you get right up to the sky and not end up?
It's
Color.
dry.
You mean the sun?
Yeah, the sun sky. That one.
You can hit it with the heat gun.
Okay.
Just do the edge with the heat gun, yeah.
Here I go.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, just keep it moving.
You want to answer his question now?
Yeah. So our primary.
I'll restate it for the video.
That's a
just
good
in
idea.
case, yeah. So the question I asked earlier was, does the ministry only offer like emotional, psychological type support, or does it offer also material type support? Financial support, legal support? Like what all areas do you kind of cover?
Scott, I'm glad you asked that question. I feel like any good interview, like
That's
if
right.
you don't reply with "I'm glad you asked that question,"
That's right.
it's just
It
not
is
a good
not a
interview.
good
Great
interview.
question.
It's a great question. I'm glad you asked that.
Beautiful, beautiful question.
I
Marvelous
wanted, I
question.
wanted you needed to know what kind of socks I had on. Great question. It is so. We created Ignite Hope because we spelt it out.
We spelt it.
We felt the spiritual void when we got to the state which we adopted from. We got there, things didn't go well. We showed up, things were going fine. We showed up, and suddenly things weren't going fine.
Oh wow.
And we felt displaced from all of our friends. We felt alone. And we felt like this spiritual battle was huge in the heavens for our child, and we weren't prepared for that. And then we were very fortunate to have some close friends that were very prayerful people, and we reached out to them. And as we reached out to them via email and they started praying, as we went through what we thought was going to be a 3-day event, showing up, completing the adoption, coming home, turned into a 3-week event.
Oh wow.
So was that
Yes,
you were
God.
out of town for this? Is it
Yeah,
what
we
you're
were
saying?
out of state.
Out of state,
Yeah,
okay.
we were halfway across the country, and we weren't prepared for that at all. And if it wasn't for our prayer partners and people supporting us, and
Right.
praying for us and praying with us, we don't think we would have made it, because our circumstances were not going in our favor. But as people began to pray, things began to change.
That's
And-
amazing.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, it was a full-out miracle.
And as things began to change, of course, our lives changed forever, because we got to bring our son home, and it was an amazing miracle, and it was an amazing event. And we didn't understand it at the time, but we understood later on as we became known as the couple who adopted. And people kept sending their friends to us and saying, "Oh, this couple adopted. Why don't you go talk to them?" And so people
Same
began,
thing happened in our church.
Yeah.
Once you know one or two couples that have either adopted or taken in foster, then anytime anybody else has a question,
You go.
they're the
The
go-to
go-to,
people,
yeah.
right?
Well, statistically, if one family in a church successfully completes an adoptive, and I would believe a foster journey, and others just see this as a testimony, just as a life testimony, 7 more families start that process.
Oh wow.
And I'm
That's
like, it's 7.
8.
Like that's significant that it
Yeah.
is 7.
Well, our church, or the church we just came from, actually, they're pretty big in the foster care system and helping foster, and the families foster, and then other people have to go through the whatever to like be able to babysit and stuff like that. And he did a whole, our pastor did a whole like talk on adopting and that kind of thing. And,
Really?
like he gave like stats out that if every, like out of all the churches that say they're a church in America, have their paperwork tax-free that says
Yeah,
they're a
exactly.
church, if every single one of them adopted a kid, there would be like no need.
No
Yep.
foster care.
There would be no orphans.
Yeah, the statistic is there's 300,000 churches in America. There's 150,000 children available for adoption right now.
Wow.
So if one family in every other church adopted, then it would
Yeah.
completely eliminate children that don't have a home right now that are available for adoption in America.
Wow.
Gosh. It's staggering.
Yeah.
It's staggering.
But as people started coming to us and asking us questions and stuff, and we became known as the adoption couple. I don't know if that's an official title or not, but people came to
Probably
us.
more like those
We
people.
saw that they had struggles and they had things that they were running into that was consistent with what we had experienced, and it was spiritual warfare. They were coming against, you have a child who has no home and theoretically has no hope
Right.
They have no home, they have no hope, and they may not have a path to find their way home.
Sure.
And we're talking home as in heaven to Jesus.
Sure.
And we just couldn't stand by and let that happen. God put it on our hearts and said, we need to do something to make that difference for those, 150,000 kids for sure. But I mean, there's how many kids are there worldwide?
350 million that are considered at risk by
Yeah.
the World Health Organization.
350 million
Wow.
kids that are
That's
considered at-risk children.
Literally like the adult population of America,
Right.
like an entire country.
That's staggering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely
So
staggering.
the need is high.
Yeah.
We used
But-
to lead with that stat, and people would be like, and then they're like glaze over
And
because
then,
they're
Yeah.
like, what
you
can
just
I
kinda
even
lose
do?
hope.
Yeah.
Right.
But the reality is what we found is that God can put it on your heart to do this, but it doesn't make it easy.
Oh,
Sure.
It's complicated. It's a long process and it's difficult. And what happens is people start feeling when you go to start adopting, you're liable to have somebody directly in your family, your dad, your mom, your sister. But why are you adopting? Why don't you have your own kids?
Right.
Why don't you have your own kids? Why would you want to adopt somebody else's child?
Right.
And they would finish that sentence that's contaminated or
Right.
in their head.
Broken or
Why would you want
whatever.
somebody else's child who's broken?
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's how they see it. They don't have, and it's nothing against them. They just don't have it in their heart. God hasn't put it on their
Sure.
heart to do this.
Sure.
So you begin to feel very alone in this process, and you may not find a community. You may have be a church that's like your church that is very supportive of that, and you can find your community within your church, but then you may not.
Right. Sure.
And then where do you go?
Right, and that's the hardest when your family, like any kind of inner healing, is the hardest.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because like Jesus wasn't even accepted in his own hometown,
exactly.
and so when you go to do something that is like so outside their scope of
Yeah.
Their comfort zone.
consideration for another human,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
hard.
And but the thing is, I really believe, God called his church into caring for the widow and the orphan.
Sure.
Like it-
Yeah.
James 1:27
Yeah.
says so.
Yeah.
And when you look at what's happened right now, we've kind of allowed government to take that over, and that's not something that they were ever given to steward.
Right.
It was us.
Right.
Yeah, us as Christians.
And because we haven't stepped into it like we need to, I mean, even within the, if you say that evangelical Christian church, like if you would just, profess believing in the Bible and believing in Jesus outside of denomination, there would be 2% of the American population that has completed an adoption. 33% of adult Americans consider it. So that's like 29% that don't ever
they
go
never
through
follow
it.
through.
And then if you look at foster care, it's even less.
Why do you think that is? Just because of all the red tape and how hard it is,
I mean,
It's difficult.
along with the naysayers?
yeah, well, I mean, it's a journey. Like, you
It's a
never
journey.
hear someone say, hey, we decided to adopt. It was so easy. And it took 3 weeks and it was super
Yeah.
inexpensive.
You don't go on Amazon and get delivered in 2 days. It's just not happening.
Like, go
I
on
mean-
Wayfair.
Yeah.
But-
I was going to
And
say,
it's
I'm like,
all-
nobody gets Amazon in 2 days anymore.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but and we realize that it's difficult, and so the biggest problem stands right there in that statistic that 33% of Americans, a third of Americans, consider fostering or adoption. But
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was blocking this light.
yeah,
You're stealing it.
so a third of Americans consider it,
Yeah.
but only 1% actually complete it. 2% actually complete that process, and that fall off we blame on spiritual warfare, the long difficult process. And what we understood is that we don't necessarily need to find more families to adopt. We need to give them support so they can sustain the journey
Sure.
to get to the end. Because if we can even get 1 more percent of that 33% to the completion point,
Right.
that
Game
eliminates
changer.
I forgot what the number was. I had it added
I was
up
like,
at
we're
some
having to do
point.
math on the
But
fly
it's-
while we're painting.
It's 200,000 more kids
Right.
finding homes.
Right.
I mean, that eliminates a lot of problems immediately, just moving that number up 1%. So that's what
Right.
attempting to do through advocating, resourcing, and encouraging families. You know, we doing date nights and having them just have some time away with their kids. And you know, normally we do this in person, and they'd go find a sitter, or we provide a sitter, and they would come and they would enjoy themselves and do whatever. But we're making do with what we got.
Yeah, we're doing drive through because we couldn't figure out safe COVID protocol for children. So
Yeah,
this is a
for
new way to
sure.
do it.
Wow. Now, do you work just within the religious community?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, we firmly believe that, you know, faith is an important part of it, but we don't want to take away from anybody who God may bring on their faith journey
Right.
through this.
Okay.
You know, somebody may start not being a Christian, but then come to the point of saying, you know, through this journey, I found out what God really means to me,
Right.
or just what a miracle God can bring in our lives.
Sure.
So we don't ever want to eliminate anybody, and we just don't have a bias towards or for anybody. We just don't.
Sure.
Like if you're called into it, we're gonna love on you.
Yeah, if
Right,
you're
and
if you're
that's-
called into orphan care, you're our people.
Yeah.
That's that you're our people, and that's the people we want to support.
Wow.
I just do straight back.
Yeah, I want to highlight my yellow a little bit. We're kind of run out of room on our palette. We're gonna get a little
Getting a little
If it-
wild.
Yeah.
wild on our palette.
I know. I love what you guys have done.
Woo!
With the painting or with Ignite Hope?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those things.
Yes.
Well, thank you
Fun.
in both aspects.
Yeah. It's very
Can't say I'm
watercolor-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So fun.
I'm going for Picasso here. No idea how he paints, I'll be honest.
So, do you guys have any projects in the works that you can let the peeps watching the video know?
Actually, this is actually really a neat thing. My kids say actually and literally a lot, and I just realized I'm
They
like,
all
actually,
do.
we literally do.
Actually.
We have been asked by Focus on the Family to write a probably 6-part series on prayer,
Okay.
which is nuts. I mean, like little Ignite Hope is
Fantastic.
and so my first deadline's coming up next week, and so my team and I have been just working on that, praying on that. I wrote it. We've got some fabulous people on our team. Shout out to you, Allison. She's been editing me. We're literally on the 5th iteration of that
Okay.
article. But I mean, that just fell into our laps. It was crazy, amazing
That's
opportunity.
brilliant, though.
And they asked me to write specifically on strategic prayer because that's our key distinctive. Like you asked, do we do material? Do we do physical support? Like what is this? We are a prayer ministry, but to us that means everything we do is just bathed in strategic prayer. It's praying scripture, it's praying truth, it is claiming God's vision and dreams for these kids. And so we do events like the Drive Thru Date night. We help with coordinating Princes for a Day with some other amazing ministries here in the area, and the Boys to Men. And both of those events are for foster, adoptive, or kinship care families, and it's specifically for either little girls or little boys, toddler up to 18, who are being raised in foster, adoptive, or kinship care homes. So we have some really
So it's a
great,
day just to love on them.
just to love on them.
I want to
Yeah.
be part of that. Keep me in the
Oh.
loop on that.
For
'cause
sure.
I
we
think
Very
will.
it would be
cool.
fun. Do some art therapy or something.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it is just this, it's just a precious couple of days. But then with the advocacy piece that he was talking about, we see it as advocacy within the church, just making people aware that you don't have to be actively bringing kids into your home, that we're all called to do something. So Ignite Hope can plug you in somewhere.
Right.
Somehow. You can be on a prayer team, you
Yeah.
can be helping by making a meal once a week for a family who just brought another child into their home.
Yeah, which is how I got
Yeah.
connected with you is some people at our church. I'm not sure how long and I don't want to say their names or anything, but I don't know how long they have been part of your program, or because I think they are, because I think somewhere on the Facebook I saw them mention you, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that. So maybe they got connected after, but they had put it out, hey, we're getting these two brothers this size and this size ages, and I'm like, oh, well, let me put it out on the mommy group, and I took like
super
an
excited to see
enormous amount of clothing and food and gift cards, and I made a couple trips to their house and brought stuff to them to do. I mean, and that's what I can do, because just not on our grid. And I don't want to feel bad saying that, because, but I feel good because I know I'm not gonna allow myself to get guilted. It's like, oh, this
and
is
that's
fun.
the thing. It's not. It's not a guilt thing. It's that everybody
It's like,
has a note to play.
right. It's like missionaries. There are people. I mean, like, I've moved to Africa. I spent 4 months in Africa.
Wow, which part?
There were in Cameroon, West Africa.
Awesome.
I didn't pay for any of it.
Yeah.
There were people that just threw money at me. They're like, I'm not leaving because I don't have a Starbucks,
Yeah.
Like, there are goers and there are senders.
Yes.
And
that is
so
exactly it.
I will go all over the world. Somebody else wants to give me money. But that allowed me to go and do ministry. And I did prayer ministry there, and I did deliverance ministry and practical life skills, help people.
That's so cool.
When it's a third world country and it's poverty, and and I went and helped them help set them up on budgets.
Yeah.
When you're homeless, or not homeless, but when you don't have a job, you still need to.
You still need to know what.
When this comes in, this is what you do, and the priorities, and that allowed, because someone else simply didn't want to go, that didn't stop me.
Yeah.
Because they funded.
Well,
So-
and that's a funny thing, because being a faith-based ministry, I mean, we're completely faith-funded, so we're essentially missionaries, but here in America,
Okay.
which is sometimes harder for people to understand. Like,
It's a lot more glorious when you send a picture of Africa back and say,
Right.
and then like, we're in Kennesaw, yay!
Right.
But the thing that, that God has just been relentless with me on my heart is that we have to steward our backyard well,
Yeah.
and then, and
Grow
then
where
He
you're
will open
planted.
it. Yeah, exactly. And for me, I can't separate out, you said, is this a family ministry? Do you bring your kids? I mean, we literally bring everybody. Like, my sister is on 3 or 4 prayer teams. My mother's on our gala committee. My dad, who used to be aeronautical engineer and then went into ministry as a pastor, he retired and came on staff with us. So we have just brought our entire family into this, which has been cool, because when my kids see, they call them families that match, like if everybody looks alike,
Right.
they're so confused, because that's, in our world, that's not usual,
Right.
because we're used to, red and yellow, black and white. Like,
Right.
that's what a family
Well,
is.
and then really in America right now, I mean, for the last 20 years, there's so much blended,
Oh, yeah.
and that I love it.
not too bad.
I'm kind of excited. I'm sorry.
That is so fantastic.
I'm like, what is it? Hit it with the heat. Do it, baby. The thingy.
Why? For what?
I don't know. Shouldn't we do that?
Why don't we- yeah,
Isn't that what you do?
She
don't
wants to
have
dry it
to.
in place
Oh.
before it
Our
changes.
sand isn't as dark as his.
Oh,
Doesn't
how'd
have
you
to be.
find-
You do you. Just an observation.
What'd you do?
Just more,
Just a little more of it.
color.
Okay.
Yeah.
The white showing
Just
through.
another layer.
Layer.
I wanted our sand to be more sandy.
How do
Yeah.
you get more sandy? That's too late now, but
Well, when it's dry, I mean, you could hit it with some white, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's got some yellow in it.
That probably does. I don't know
Have
what
yellow
color
in
that.
it? It looks like
That's
there's yellow
just not
coming
this
off of
color.
it.
There's. I was, and just so you guys know, we were very limited because of COVID on the colors we could choose from.
Oh, gracious, yes.
So, and the paintbrushes and things, because I think it's, as someone who's creative, I think it's fantastic because that means people were at home being creative.
Yeah.
You know, for having to buy 60 of something, it was
Yeah.
it was not okay. So hopefully you guys can do what you need to do with the colors and just be creative, you know. Think of it as abstract. It's just interpretive. And that was one thing of when I've only been doing this for a couple years, and when I got into it, the hardest thing for me was that when I sat down to do something, it didn't look like the picture. You know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's
what I struggle with.
yeah. It's like, that's a photograph. I'm like, I do know people that can, I have to double take at what they do.
Yeah.
Because they're so flippin' talented. I mean, the stuff that they do, I'm like, there's no way that is not a photograph.
Yeah.
Whether they do it with pencil or ink pen or just, they're just, it's
Somewhere I saw somebody do the Last Supper with the French fry and ketchup. You saw that.
No, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
I did. Okay, I will find it. I know it's on YouTube. I know somebody there can YouTube this. I will find it and send it to you.
that sounds
But
crazy.
it was perfect. It was like, that's the Last Supper, but it was a French fry and ketchup.
Wow.
I don't even know how you'd like say, hey, look at what I can do. Like, how would you try that the first time?
Yeah, I got nothing for that. I'm just. But yeah, so you just make it work. It's just. I love your painting.
Oh! Sorry. Told you it was super
And
excited.
don't forget the mountains. You don't have to put the mountains in there if you don't want to. You absolutely not.
We can do some happy little
I haven't
ones.
seen any mountains in yours yet, so
I haven't, so I'm just kind of waiting
We're-
to
yeah,
see
we're
where
pa- we're
I'm
pacing ours
totally
along
taking
with
my
you.
lead off of him. I've just been watching to see what he does.
So really, you're pacing the entire
Wow.
table.
I
No,
really like
no
what you got
pressure.
going. I like what you got going on with the water there. How did you do the reflection in the water like that?
Is it
Did
white?
you just take?
This, yeah, I just dab.
Just dab the orange and the whatever
I'm
color
really
you use
excited
in
about
the
the
sky.
Christie.
You see what he's doing
It's
with
like
the reflection on the
Yeah,
water?
like this.
I'm sorry, I love that. I'm really excited. I haven't been out at all.
You know what?
lately.
But that makes my heart happy that you get happy about something you created. And
Yeah.
if you've noticed or not, I don't use the word artist or art. It's just something we've created.
Are you done with this?
Do what you need to do, bro.
So
So it's all about just being creative. We're just going to create whatever we create.
let's take.
That's a standalone right there.
Thank you. I really love
She's
this
good.
part.
You could
She's an artist and she didn't know it.
take that and you could have somebody make a really nice picture of it, and that would be a beautiful card. You can make cards
Ooh.
out of it, maybe fundraiser kind of thing.
Nice. But y'all might see this somewhere.
Yeah,
Just
there you go.
saying.
You saw it here first. Come hang out at the parlor. You never know. You come in
That's
here
the
and you
first layer
start
I'm putting down.
Okay.
start
Just right
partnering with
here.
the Holy Spirit up in here. What you looking for? What you need?
I don't know. I'm just trying to decide if I want to try this or not.
Try what?
I was gonna try and park a boat there, a little rowboat.
Oh, Hobie cat. Like a Hobie cat?
Do not make
No, I'm
it.
not
No,
that good.
okay.
Do not make it the same color as your sand.
Yeah, I know. That's why I tried to lighten it up.
Why do you want a brown boat? I mean, you do you. What?
I'm copying what I did over there.
Okay.
I was gonna do a light background, and then I was gonna darken this
When you put your
down
brush in, just
to
go
put
like
the.
a little bit. There you go,
See
like
how I
that.
did on that one?
What I would
And
do?
then start
I would
wide
dry
on
that.
the edge.
Take
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
gun
thinking.
and
This way.
completely dry it because it's just going to keep blending in together if it's not dry.
Who's got the gun?
Oh,
It's
it's
on the
under
floor
there.
right here.
It's plugged in over there, so you got to go over
No,
there.
it's not.
Oh.
I plugged it in
Oh,
here.
it scared me. I'm sorry. It was the heat gun. Heat and gun
floor.
scared me.
Ah, thanks.
I'm kind of a jumpy sport right now.
You're rushing. It's okay. She's got different waves on her side. Because ours.
Yeah, she's a lot more brushy, and I'm a lot more.
Something else.
We're going with straight yellow.
Okay.
Like the help. What's her name? When what was the main girl? What is
Me?
No. Anyway, her mom had
yeah.
her mom had
Swelling.
on the wig. No. And her mom's like, "What do you think?" It's a lot of everything. Skeeter. That's her name.
That's
Skeeter.
it. Oh my goodness.
She came in.
I like it. I like putting these
Nice.
reflection. I'm trying to copy a little bit of what he did. His is blended
You need to
better.
put some white too, though.
Oh yeah.
That took several layers.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, a little bit of white.
going back to what you asked about 17 minutes ago, you had asked about, or we were talking about the advocacy. So we advocate within the church that
Okay.
there's a place for everyone. And what we want, we're part of a national initiative through the Christian Alliance for Orphans called More Than Enough. So what we want to do is have more than enough foster families, more than enough adoptive families, more than enough respite families.
Right.
So that instead of just giving one family 7 kids because they
they're
were willing,
Yeah.
to have the best place. So you have like 3 options and you choose the very best one for that kid or for that support
Right.
group. And one of the things that we've just seen over and over again, which is super cool, is that when people will come to work with us or volunteer with us, they usually will end up kind of staying around in this space, and they'll join a prayer team. We've had some families who were on prayer teams who then started adoption or foster processes just after saying, oh look, like these normal people are doing this, I could do this too.
And that's what I think part of it too, because because like I said, it's never just been on our radar, on our grid. We've supported, and we've had several close friends that have done it, and they adopt and all this kind of stuff. So I read different blogs and posts and things, and the things you don't say to someone who's adopting, and I'm like, oh my God,
Is that your kid?
what do I do? Yeah, or like, oh, how could you, or what, the whole, why don't you just have your own, or why don't you adopt an American? Why do you have to go to China? And just all of that. So what can you say to that would help other, like anybody who's watching and stuff, that they might be dealing with that? How help me help you? What's good to say? What's good not to say?
Well, speaking as the parent, as the adoptive parent or the foster parent, what I found is having a pat answer is the best. Because depending on what I've gone through that day, what's happening in life, if everybody slept through the night the last night, I might get kind of cranky with my answer.
Right.
So having a pat answer that just kind of shuts it down, especially if your kids are with you, because let's face it, little kids, big ears, they're listening.
Yeah, right in front of the kids. Which one's adopted?
I'm like, bro, really?
Yeah.
We all are. We're all
For
children
real?
of God.
For real?
Yeah, a perfect pat answer.
It's like
Perfect
it
pat
doesn't
answer.
matter. I would snap back. That would send me over
and that's
the
why
edge.
that's why I've had to, especially going into ministry. Like, it's one thing when
just-
you're just like a crazy adoptive mom, but when you're a ministry leader and you're like snapping and getting cranky at people, it just doesn't.
Yeah, I
it's not a
know.
good
That's
look.
why I don't
Just-
have a big ministry.
So basically, just be ready to answer that question.
Yeah.
So you know what the answer is. You don't have to think of it in the moment.
Right.
Because what you come up with in the moment may not be such
Right,
a good
because
response.
it's 90%
so
of the time it's going to
intensely
catch you off guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Or no, I could never do that. And I'm
And-
like, and I've said those things. I'm like, more power to you. Here's a food card, because I can't, because it's just not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. But God bless you for that. I will tell you, having 4 little kids, somebody brings me a meal, I am beyond grateful. I once had a friend from Bible study show up when number 4 came home, and she walked in, and it was loosey-goosey in our house. Like, nobody had slept through the night. we were all in pajamas. It was probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were like the pajamas from like a day or 2 ago.
Right.
I was looking frayed, and the house was showing it too. And she just brought a meal, but she walked in and sat down and just started folding my laundry. I had 7 baskets of laundry in front of me.
Aw.
Oh, wow.
And we had 3 kids in diapers. There was 222 diapers a week when we
My
brought number 4
goodness.
home. He was a little bit preemie. We thought some other people would be settled. One of them regressed because suddenly life was not like it was. And
Right.
222 diapers later,
Oh my gosh.
we were falling to pieces. But she walked in and saw that, and instead of, saying, this is a mess, this is messy, I'm getting back to my own home and my 9-year-old who can handle himself.
Getting back to safety.
Right, yeah.
Stepped up
Yeah,
and-
she just sat down and started folding my laundry and I hadn't spoken to somebody who wasn't 3 feet tall. in a
Yeah, so
long time.
she just met you where you were.
Yeah, and it was so precious, and it was exactly what I needed.
She was stuck at home and it wasn't even COVID.
Yeah, before the virus, I was still quarantined. So, I mean, just those kinds of things. There are so many different ways to just be. Your presence is a present. you know?
Right.
Because the enemy will use a God calling to make you feel different, make you feel weird,
Sure.
make you feel like you can't
Just
handle
isolated,
it. And
yeah.
yes, and then you're isolated. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an enemy win.
Yeah, and if your family members have been like, well, why are you gonna adopt? And you go to adopt, you really feel comfortable calling them and asking for help?
For help, right?
Right,
They're
exactly.
gonna be like, well, we told you not to do it,
Right.
and it's like,
Yeah.
but we've also heard stories where, there was one of the first couples we talked to, they were concerned because her dad wasn't on board and just was like, why don't you just do, in vitro and all these other things and just have a child another way, just don't adopt. But once the child came home, Grandpa was on board.
Different tune,
Had a
yeah.
whole different tune. He
Yeah.
that's not a guarantee. I'm not promising anybody that, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
God can do anything.
Yeah. Well, so do you have, because I was just thinking, I'm a dreamer, I'm a visionary, I can sit like,
Sorry.
no, you're good.
Oh, look at his boat. It's
Yeah.
so
I
good.
think on the surfboard.
Yeah. That's about, he did that painting over on the wall, on the
Yeah,
bottom
I
of
was
the
looking
window.
at it.
That,
Oh, I see it.
Painted
Yeah,
on the
depending on
tin.
scale. Hopefully the sun makes the scale know that's a boat, not a surfboard. But yeah, you're right. It could be either.
but, like, do you orchestrate having house cleaning parties and things for people?
My goodness, but no, what a great idea.
Where you're just sitting there like, I've got 7 loads of laundry and I don't even know where my kitchen's at.
Yeah,
That's
at
you know?
any given time, I know where at least 3 out of our 4 kids are.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Good
one's lost in the
And then at
laundry.
least one of those kids is gonna know
Know
where
where
the
the
other
fourth
lost
one
kid
is.
is.
Yeah, like,
Or if you just get quiet for a second, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, right? No, kids can be quiet. And when they're
And that's
quiet,
dangerous.
that's
That's
when you gotta
dangerous.
worry.
That is dangerous.
It's like, oh, this house is too good. It's like when you're hiking or you're in a sketchy situation in the woods and like birds quit chirping. You're like,
Yeah, you're
This
like,
ain't
why is this happening?
yeah. It's like, that's when you perk up. Cause it's like,
Ours like to injure themselves constantly, so we just pause for a minute.
Wait for the
Okay, got
scream.
Marco, ah!
But
yeah,
within
I just thought about
advocacy, we actually also have a strong heart for changing legislation
Okay.
so that it protects vulnerable children and vulnerable families, because the way we explain Ignite Hope is we work preborn to permanency. So if you experience a season of being at risk, then we want to surround you, your caregivers, your biological family, whatever that looks like.
Okay.
So
The ultimate goal would be reconciliation and restoration of the biological.
initial
Foster.
nuclear
Yeah.
family.
Biological family.
I mean, that is the ideal.
Right.
But when the ideal in a broken world doesn't happen, which we know just it's true, God is always business of redemption. And what I have seen, and I don't think I mentioned this, and it's because to me it's boring, but I'm actually a former foster child.
Okay.
And I was an international adoptee, and my sister is an international adoptee.
So you're from South America?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So God's been writing the story
Colombia.
Yeah.
for a long, long time.
Don't.
And how long it's been?
What? No, I
Oh.
was waiting for him to pull up a movie quote.
Oh, he's smiling.
About,
He knows.
yeah, he knows.
So anyways, when I see these children in this situation, it's so intensely personal to me because that was me, that's my sister, those are my kids. So the mama bear in me comes out, and pretty much within seconds of starting Ignite Hope, I was immediately like, we got to change this and we got to change that.
For sure.
By the grace of God, we had a board that is Holy Spirit led, and they were like, we see
Our advisory
you.
board.
Yeah.
Well, and our board of directors. And they said, no, this is not the time.
Right.
I bumped up hard against it. They bumped up hard against me. And
Which
in the
is good.
story, I had to wait. But in that waiting, God's opened a lot of really amazing doors for Ignite Hope. And I've been able to spend a lot of time literally doing advocacy work in Washington, D.C., in the Capitol, working with the Center for Public Justice,
Okay.
just doing different things. Another organization we work with is the Uniform Law Commission, and right now I'm helping to speak into draft legislation that will impact the unregulated transfer of children. So there is a small but significant percentage of situations where a placement doesn't work out, and that means that right now there's not protections around it. You could transfer a child in the Walmart parking lot, and
Wow.
Oh, wow.
and that does happen with
There's no law to govern it.
alarming regularity. There's very few states that have anything
Wow.
in place that would give protections around it. And the flip side of orphan care, the flip side of fostering, is human trafficking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're working
Yeah.
hard.
And she's not going to say this because this is just who she is, but I mean, the door was open to where she was invited in along with just a couple other people to sit down in front of Supreme Court justices, senators,
Wow.
like major lawmakers from around the country,
Right.
and
state judges.
state judges, and allow them to look at her and go, it's the stuff that we're creating, is it applicable? Is it something that we need to create? And look at her as a ministry leader and an adoptee and be able to speak into that specifically.
Sure.
And then what she had to say, like, convinced them to go
difference,
back
yeah.
and completely change the laws because
Oh, wow.
they just didn't have it created. They had it created from their mindset, which
They
was
didn't
not
have it right.
which was not in the space of a foster care and adoption.
Sure,
And when she
sure.
explained the point, it's like her, and not just her, but her and her compatriots that came to an agreement that this was, the right way to do it. I mean, literally, they went back and rewrote the law. And,
That's
Wow.
and
amazing.
so we need.
Good for you.
But what's interesting
My
about
mama
it?
bear gets loud. I might
You
get
know-
super excited about watercolor paint, but you get me in front of some people that can make
But
some
that's
decisions.
the thing. I mean,
Right.
that's something that
I get
God.
feisty.
Yeah, God just put that in you. Like you were saying, we all have a part to play.
Yeah.
I can't speak into that.
What most people probably don't even realize is that most of the laws that were written about around the world of foster care and adoption and at-risk children were just written in like anywhere between 1955 and like 1970.
Probably by
Oh, wow.
white men.
Right.
I mean, just
And
it
so they were
hasn't
written
been-
in that time frame.
Yeah.
Which, we
A
had a completely different
whole different mindset.
mindset, but
Yeah.
A whole different
none of them
definition
have
of
been
family.
Sure.
none of them have been changed since
Right.
then.
Well, I think
And
that's
our world has changed a lot.
that's the
since
problem. That's the whole breakdown right now. Is the whole system. The word systemic gets thrown around a lot, and it covers more than just race. I mean,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like the whole
a lot of
system
things.
needs to be revamped and just looked at because we've changed.
Yeah.
And the positive and negative to our laws and our judicial system is it's not easy to change. Negative.
Right.
The positive is it's not easy to change, which ensures that all parties come to an agreement that this
Right.
needs to be changed.
Right.
So it's not easy to get a law to change because you have to have the House and the Senate and the President. And all these
Right.
people have to agree that this is
Right.
something that needs to
Which is a bittersweet thing.
Something that needs to
Yeah.
happen.
needs to happen. So that's the positive negative to our law system, which I'm just learning a lot about this myself. Otherwise, my education about it was the cartoon on Saturday morning that I am a bill.
Yeah.
I am
I'm
a
a
bill.
bill.
I'm just a bill.
Capital Bill.
Yeah.
We do that all the time. What is the other one? Conjunction, junction.
Oh, conjunction,
True
junction.
That was my education on what
Yeah,
government was like.
I think that's how we got through the school in the 80s.
Yeah.
Our stoner parents, they couldn't teach us
Our
anything.
stoner teacher.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's my teacher actually. God.
Oh, Lord.
He actually went to jail for selling drugs.
Nice.
I never bought any, just anybody knows.
Nice.
I never bought any.
I'm doing the heart.
But
Oh,
yeah.
you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I think probably.
Do you want a
I mean,
smaller brush?
Yeah, can I?
You were asking, kind of like, what is it we do? I think probably one of the most effective things that we've done as a ministry is the first thing that we actually did is we wrote several devotionals, and then we wrote a devotional, which is called God's Got This.
Okay.
Because to encourage people that, you know what, this seems too big for me to handle. This is how we felt, but you know what, God's got it. We don't have to do this on our own. But God's got this, the strategic prayer guide to your adoption journey.
Aw.
And it gives you like specific steps on what to pray for as you're going through your journey and where to, things that you probably have never thought about praying for, like where's your child coming from? What do they look like?
Right.
What color are they?
People
are
don't
they
even pray about like their spouses and stuff like
Yeah.
shit. I mean, just
Yeah.
prayer is just.
are they domestic?
Wait, I don't
Are they
think-
international?
As the American church, I don't think we really get the authority that we're given
We
as
don't.
sons and daughters to really pray.
Ugh.
And we kind of pray, have a happy day,
That's
or, and what we're talking about is like banging on the gates of heaven.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I feel like any family who has walked into a foster or adoptive type relationship, they've walked onto a spiritual battlefield,
Sure.
whether they know it or not.
Yeah. Most of the time they don't know it until we explain it to them.
Yeah. But they know everything's going, to the
Haywire.
deep in a handbasket.
Sure.
And they don't know why. And that's kind of how it started, that people are like, oh, everything's going crazy in your life since you started the adoption process. Oh, you need to go talk to these people. Because they are like way
Yeah.
into that crazy.
Right.
So.
Because people, I mean, they understand. I think they have some kind of grid for like maybe, the kid comes from a dysfunctional thing. But when you really, really understand inner healing and spiritual warfare, I mean, that kid's bringing a lot of baggage into the family.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you don't know how to recognize it, how to address it, that's when
And to help them heal.
right. And just it's not like, every kid needs to have an exorcism before they come in your house.
Well, I mean,
What?
But I mean, if you think about just adults, just looking at our country here, if you're an adult in America, you're bringing baggage.
Absolutely.
You're
We all
bringing a
got
whole
something.
bunch of stuff.
We all have something.
And one of the things that I feel like Holy Spirit just laid on me is there's a reason that some kids are attacked from the womb. There's
Sure.
a reason that some
Sure.
kids, there's an adoption plan made and you're not even born yet.
Yep.
Or you're in an orphanage when you're 2 years old, or you go into foster care at 12. Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason, and our premise within Ignite Hope is that there is a kingdom calling on these kids' lives.
Absolutely. We all have a plan and a
Yeah.
purpose and a destiny.
And so-
who did
Who did it?
was it Wesley did the 95 thesis?
Yes.
The story of his life, and even he almost died at birth, and his house caught on fire, and he was upstairs and almost died in a house. I mean, like, the devil was after him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some people just don't understand that. But-
So we just,
And when you enter into this world, I mean, honestly, not to scare people, but you got a target on your back because you're
Absolutely.
trying to steal a child from the devil's hands.
Yeah.
Right.
that,
Well, I mean, it's all of it. I've heard it described this way: is like the devil already knows where he's going. He's already he knows it, whether we understand it
well,
or
he's
not.
strategic.
Right. his goal is just to see how many he can take with him.
To kill, steal, and destroy.
That's it.
And we just sat down one day and looked at each other. I remember the day that we
Are we doing mountains?
made this decision.
Up to you.
We can do that.
I was waiting to see if you're going
I don't think you guys should do mountains.
You don't think so? Ooh, we'll do white in there. Well, y'all do mountains.
Yeah, do white caps.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do mountain. It might look pretty. It will make it definitely having that,
Like that.
touch of black would definitely be a contrast and make
Okay.
it pop more.
Will you do
Do you
my
think just like
mountains?
one?
Because I'm scared.
You did those amazing boats
I'm
though.
gonna do it. But
All right. Okay. So this is what we'll do. All right. So checking in on y'all. We haven't forgot about you guys, but that's what this is. We're just all having a double date.
Yes.
So hopefully, so I don't know. Are we gonna set it up where there's one specific night that?
What we'll do is we will. I should tell y'all too. We'll upload this to our private Ignite Hope YouTube page.
Okay.
And we'll have a card in there that gives you the code or I don't know what you
How
do.
to
I
sign
don't
in.
actually even do YouTube, so I don't know. He has a page.
We'll just
you
send
can
you a
upload
link.
it, and you'll
Okay.
get the link, and then they can do it whenever it works for them.
Okay.
So if your babysitter bails when you come pick up your stuff, you can reset it up and do it whenever it works.
Okay. Because my thought is, I don't know, like have like one specific time we can choose something that works for both of us
Okay.
and figure out how we can be available for like if somebody out of what you're saying, if they watch it and have questions, or
Love that.
we can be available to answer questions. I can be available to ask the creative questions or whatever, which you guys pretty much have seen. You just go for it.
You just get bold and do it.
If it looks really bad, you paint it all white and
Start
start
again.
over.
you could
Get you a white paper towel and start wiping.
That's right. Just turn it over and go on back. No, you can't turn it over.
you could set up a specific time that if they want to do it during that time, you're available on a Zoom call. That they could jump in,
Yeah.
get some instruction, or learn more about the ministry and back out.
But she says a lot about the ministry. I was just thinking, because it's not live, so it's not like they can ask questions about what she just said until after they've watched it.
Well, when we're revamping our website, it ain't going to be there by the time they
Well,
see
it'll be
this.
there. It'll just be better.
Yeah.
It's not going to be better by that time, but we're definitely revamping the website just to make it a
You want
clearer
E1?
path as to what. That'd be great. Thank you. A clearer path as to what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Do you have any artistic instruction on the best way to do the mountains?
The mountains, not like those paintbrushes. I hate those paintbrushes. Yeah, let me, we're gonna do the mountains. So, this I think will be the best way if you're gonna do it. One person I'm gonna do, let me have your thingy. That's what I'm trying to say.
No.
Give it. Give
this
it.
is my art,
It's getting real over there.
right?
The only thing I'm gonna do is, how do our water, yeah. Our water's off. Is that just black?
Yep.
All right, so I think just right here where it comes together is the only place that matters. After that, make your own. You do you, bro. Yeah, so let's see what I did. I just
Ooh, nice.
connected the
your
mountains.
hearts.
Is it connected? So that
Yeah.
way it kind of evens it up right there. So
Okay.
whether
Boy, we have two major interpretations.
we do, I told you, we are night and day. I would say bipolar, but no, we're not claiming that. But yeah, so at least it'll come together like right in the middle, and then you can do whatever you want. I might put a palm tree on mine. Yeah. There is no right or wrong. That's the beauty of being creative. You just go for it. There is no pass or fail. You can finger paint it on there if you want to.
To finish what I was saying real quick, just so we don't leave anybody hanging. I think one of the best things that we've done that's been the most effective is our devotionals in our book. Our devotionals on YouVersion, they all start with God's Got This. So if you type in God's Got This on the YouVersion Bible app, which is the Bible app most people use, looks like the little Bible.
That was funny. It's like all the cool people.
All the cool people.
All the cool kids got you version.
Y'all are cool if you use it, just so you know. Because I'm the measure of
Of all
whatever.
things cool on the Bible.
But yeah, we've had,
got this.
and how long have we had the devotionals up there? 4 years?
Yeah, we.
fun.
Yeah, that was.
So in 4 years, our 5 devotionals have been read about 85,000 times.
Nice.
So it's
That's when you know it's all Jesus. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? Like it's exhausted Jeff and Jacqui in Atlanta in the basement when we finally get the kids to sleep.
Right.
But God can do this. Our second highest readership was China until they blocked us out of there.
Oh, no kidding.
Wow.
Yeah, 'cause
They
there's-
sliced our internet presence off of China there real quick. It disappeared with the COVID statistics.
nice.
Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah, I like your mountains better than those mountains for sure, but I don't think I like the mountains in it. I think I like the kind of the, it feels
Just
harsh.
very abstract, very.
Yeah, it feels harsh
Yeah.
to add that to this.
Yeah. Well, it's because your colors are so bright. Yeah.
Booyakasha.
Nice.
Oh, the wind's really blowing out there.
I'm kind of excited. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of.
Ooh.
Are you planning on painting anymore?
I don't know. I'm debating the.
I'm gonna lean towards not painting anymore because when you keep just painting on it, I feel like I start messing it up more.
Yep.
It's like
Sometimes less is
teenagers
more.
with makeup.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd be totally like a teenager with makeup. My eyeliner would get way too thick.
On one eye.
Yeah.
Because you kept trying to make it look like the other one.
Right. I'm
Where,
bad with that.
oh, when we went down to Macon, one of our newest team members is our new prayer director, and she lives literally on a farm, on a ranch. Like
Nice.
cows and chickens and all that.
Fun.
And so we went down, and she is just amazing. Billy and Bonnie Walker have 28 kids, 3 bios,
Wow.
yeah, 24 adopted, and 1 spiritually adopted.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they
And
are.
they have 2-week-old calves, which our children which our children absolutely loved feeding them bottles.
Yeah.
They fed
I
them
used to do
bottle,
that, yeah.
bottle fed to calves.
I love bottle feeding.
Absolutely loved it, and apparently it feels funny when they suck on your hand too,
They
like
do.
a pacifier. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
our children were just like sticking
Yeah.
their hands in their
Well, it
mouth.
was
I'm
like,
like, don't
just
let it
suck
bite
down
you.
Like,
yeah.
"Oh."
Yeah, my grandmom lives up in the country in Indiana, and there was a dairy farm just across. And like every summer, we'd go up, and that's where every morning I'd be down there
Oh,
helping
yeah.
milk the cows and doing the baby
I
cows.
honestly feel like you or Bella, like big. Truly.
Pray for her now.
Yeah.
How about just grown up?
Yeah. Yes, that's what I meant. Grown up as an
Big
adult.
version.
But yeah, it's
Getting all shushy fancy over there.
you
I'm
really
just trying to add a little color back.
So how's everybody doing?
And as you can, we never end up doing whatever the example is. Like no matter what it is,
It's actually
we
the
always.
first time I
And
think we've
that's-
ever done.
that's
This is
like
the
the-
closest we've ever.
Yeah,
done.
that's like the jumping off point, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of being just creative. Just thinking of it as not recreating the thing,
Yeah.
but you
Interpreting
just
it.
make it your own.
Red, please.
We didn't have green, did we?
No, we don't need green. It's sunset. You wouldn't really be able to see green.
Well, I was gonna put a really,
Did it
really,
see
really
green?
dark green, like just a little bit of light off some trees as it's fading.
But you can't. It's behind the mountain.
Yeah.
It's a silhouette.
We got all these rules about painting.
The artist said no. The teacher said no.
Teacher said no. I love your thing.
I'm super excited about it. I'm
That
not
is
gonna
so
lie.
fantastic.
This is so going up in
It's good
the
promo
house.
for me.
So and we're two not artistic people. So look, she's
But see, it's
amazing.
not about it, and that's the beauty. Like I said when you were here the other day, it's like I want people to come in here and connect with Holy Spirit and just have fun.
Yeah.
You've not thought about anything. You have just played, and that's
Yeah.
what you did.
And that,
Yeah.
and honestly, that's what we needed right now, and that's what we're hoping that our families need.
Yeah.
Just
So
good
we
time to
hope
play.
that
And
by
this is us. This is us together, but very diverse and very different.
Why is my heart bigger than yours?
Well, because I started.
he's a man.
I started your half.
Chris-
And how do you know that one's yours?
I painted it.
You paid half.
I paid.
I paid that.
Yeah. But yeah. So I'm gonna hold ours up so you can see the interpretation.
Oh, it's good. Look at that shot.
So it's just something fun. It's probably not museum worthy, and that's okay.
That your
I don't know
home
if somebody
gallery.
can strap a banana to a wall with some duct tape and get $20,000 for it.
That is true.
That's so ridiculous.
So yes,
So
museum
look,
worthy.
it's not even, doesn't even look like that one. I did that one earlier today, and this one, and then they're gonna hold theirs up for you here in a minute. But you don't have to get fancy with it. But now is the time, if you want, you can add in the details. Like if you happen to have different brushes or even some Sharpies, you could probably, if you wanted to, outline the sun.
That's
you could
awesome.
you could put some. I love it.
so
That looks
excited.
like was it Van Gogh, the Starry Night, the swirly
Yeah.
Starry Night?
That's what it is.
That.
Van Gogh. That's the guy I was
Yeah.
trying to name.
I thought so.
Yeah, no, it's a Van Gogh.
Same guy, right?
But yeah, you can take white or like black marker if you want to do like a little V. You can add
add
like
in
your
the
birds in the
birds.
sky. You could do the palm trees.
You could draw
put
the
little-
The
cat
sun's
in for
this big. Those birds gotta be little.
It could be closer in. It's dimensional. You
It
could
could
be all
be a
religious.
condor.
Right.
You can be real spiritual and put in footprints in the sand.
Ooh, how would you do that?
But
I
only
just
one
draw
set.
little
Only one
footprints.
That's right.
Only one set of footprints, and then a rut where Jesus drags you
Yeah.
the whole way to the other side. That's my favorite version of it. Like, have you heard that? Yeah, it's like, you know, the whole.
That is
so fitting
awesome.
for what
That
we're
is
the whole
doing.
footprint.
If you were being drugged right now
Yeah.
by Jesus, just know we're here
Yeah.
praying for you.
Mine would be more like dense because it's me kicking and screaming all
Yeah,
day.
yeah, just like just a big ditch right
Yeah.
next to the
It's two
footprints.
footprints and then two hand claw prints.
Claw marks.
Don't take me there. Oh, Lord.
So yeah, so
That is
Sorry.
hysterical.
no, you're cool. So
Who's
have
lost their
grace.
minds.
Have grace for yourself. I don't know where you are in this because I don't even know how long we've been doing this, but it's not about being perfect. We just wanted to create an evening that you guys can just hang out with us and do whatever and play.
hang out with each other.
Yeah, just
Might have been a minute.
chit
And
chat.
not talk
with each
about,
other.
you know, disciplining children, paying a bill,
Yeah.
you know.
I meant to say that at the very beginning. During this whole time, you're not allowed to talk about budget. You're not allowed to talk about kids. Nothing.
Masks.
Date.
No masks.
You're on a date.
Take
No-
your mask
no
off.
debating your political
Mask-free
stance.
dating. Absolutely do not adhere to the 6-foot rule.
Yeah.
Oh
But
baby, oh baby.
yeah. So.
I love it. I'm
Yeah.
super excited.
Yeah.
And I honestly, Melissa, we are so grateful to you for opening the parlor to Ignite Hope. We're actually going to be putting the bags together here next week
Mhm.
and just getting to come here and experience this. This is awesome.
If you want to, if you're okay with being non-quarantined and like in this kind, I've got the space. If you guys want to come here to do your date night, hit me up. And
How
I'm
would they
here.
reach you?
Huh?
How would they reach you?
And
My
why are we
business
saying this
cards.
at the end?
Yeah, my business cards will be in the bag.
Oh, so will ours.
Yep. So all the
Okay.
information, any connection will be in the bag. I have all the social medias. The parlor Smyrna is the Facebook thing because parlor was already taken. I'm on Instagram, the parlor Smyrna as well.
And we'll put you on our social media as well.
Okay. Yeah. So you will be able to connect with all of us. But yeah, you can just connect with me, send me email, shoot me a text message, and I'm usually here every day, Monday through Friday. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I try to take Wednesdays as my Sabbath, but I usually end up being here doing my own thing, painting anyway. But regardless, hit me up. We'll schedule a time to come in. I'm usually here by noon every day, and I stay until 6 or 7 or so, depending on what's happening.
Love
And
it.
so we'll be available. If you get into it and you just feel completely overwhelmed, give me a call. You know, just call the number on the card, and I can talk you off the ledge, and we can do whatever we need to do to, you know, to salvage and make it a good experience for you.
Make
Do some
beautiful
FaceTime
art.
painting.
Yeah,
Let me see
yeah,
what you got. Ah, we can fix that.
yeah. Do FaceTime, Zoom, whatever we need to do, Skype, any of that stuff to make it, like I said, to make it a good experience for you, because a lot of people have been wounded by well-meaning art teachers in the past.
Gracious.
So we break that right now in the name of Jesus, which I probably should have done to start with.
Probably should have done it over me when
Yeah.
you met me.
Yeah,
Bless your heart.
it's no judgment zone. But anyway,
I'm
I
super
think
excited to like show people that.
I think it's fantastic.
My wife's a much better artist than I am.
But I think
You're
it
creative.
matches.
We don't use the word artist.
You're
We're creative.
She's a much better painter than I am.
Could be.
A painter.
But you wield machines that she doesn't, right?
This is so true.
There you go.
Gracious. And on that note.
Yeah, so I think we're
scene.
gonna wrap it up. We hope you guys had a really great time. Yeah, connect with us, reach out for prayer, whatever.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. If you need a prayer team, we're your people.
Yep. So anyway, later.
Bye for now.
Bye.
It was fun.
And that's a wrap.
Yay.